Welcome everyone on Facebook to our third Veteran Community Resource Showcase for Racine, Kenosha, Wadsworth County, Greene and Rock counties as well. We'll be bringing these events specific to specific Wisconsin counties every month throughout 2021. Please like our Facebook page so you'll receive a notification about each monthly event. If you'd like to ask any questions of our guests tonight, we will have their information in the comments section of our Facebook page. And now to our showcase. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Victor Kilpatrick, and I'm the program coordinator for the R&R House, and I'm a United States Navy veteran. Some of my stations includes the USS Doyle out of Mayport, Florida, United States Support Facility Diego Garcia, and Naval Hospital Great Lakes. I'm happy to announce that the R&R House is open for overnight guests. And if you have any questions or would like to inquire about becoming a guest at the R&R House, please call us at 262-336-9540.
That's right, Victor. Hello, everyone. My name is Peter Barecki. I am the house manager at the R&R House. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I was stationed up in Fort Wainwright, Alaska, and served 1 year in Afghanistan. Tonight, for our first guest, we would we'd like to introduce the Veteran Outreach Recovery Program Director, Holly Searan.
Next, we would like to welcome our first guest, Veteran Outreach Recovery Program Director, Holly Searan. Holly is the Region 11 Coordinator of the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs, Veterans Outreach and Recovery Program. Holly works throughout the state to connect veterans to community services and provide case management and support, with a special focus on treatment and recovery. Welcome, Holly.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, Holly, what exactly does a Veteran Outreach and Recovery Specialist do?
Oh, okay. So that's a hard question because it's always different day to day. All of us VORP staff, we have our own regions that we cover. So that means that we're mobile. We meet with participants in person. We do street outreach. We go to jails. We go to shelters. And we meet with other agencies and nonprofits. So basically, we collaborate with those different agencies. We provide referrals. We do advocacy for the participant, and we coordinate services so the veteran can get what they need. So for example, I might be doing street outreach, come into contact with a veteran who's living on the street, needs shelter. So I can contact a shelter, see if they have any availability. If not, I can call another agency to see if they can provide a motel voucher if they're eligible. Or if a veteran needs housing, we can connect them to HUD-VASH. And there's also a housing program, coordinated entry. So I can fill out the application, do an assessment with that veteran and get them on that housing program. For participants that do not qualify for federal VA services, then we work with other community providers and nonprofits. And sometimes the veteran, they don't know who to contact for assistance. So we help them navigate through that. And some veterans, they're not able to communicate clearly what their needs are. So we can be that go-between person where we communicate on their behalf and we provide that advocacy. And if they need AODA treatment, we can coordinate that. WDVA does have some funds that are available to assist with residential treatment. And it's for veterans that do not have VA healthcare insurance and they're not eligible for that. We've worked with veterans that are in the middle of a health crisis or a mental health crisis. And in those cases, we partner up with crisis in the area or the VA or the behavioral health units. And then we work on goals with the veterans. So we find out what are their short-term and long-term goals and how do we get them so we can help them achieve those goals.
Well, you definitely do a lot.
It's different every day.
Yeah, I'm sure. We're also interviewing the CVSOs in your region. In what ways do your offices partner?
So if I get a veteran that needs to file a claim, I will contact the CVSO for that, or they need to upgrade their discharge status, or if there's anything else, I know the CVSO is kind of the go-to person to help them, then I contact them. Or if a CVSO is helping a veteran that they think could really benefit from VORP services and case management, then they would contact me. Sometimes a veteran has an immediate need, like they really need shelter. So the CVSO would call VORP. We can see if we can work on getting them into a shelter right then. Or like if a veteran's working on a claim and he's one of our participants, I can contact the CVSO to see like what's the status of their claim and where they at. We collaborate, work together.
Perfect. It sounds like a good relationship.
Yes, it is.
So I read a story about how you helped a female veteran who recently lost her husband and her income. How were you and WDVA able to assist her?
So I had this veteran. She was originally living in Texas, and then her husband had died unexpectedly. So she had that loss of income, and that caused her to lose her home. She became homeless, and then she was living in her car. So she moved up here to be with her family, but that environment was really toxic to her mental health. So she contacted me. I was able to use WDVA funds, get her in a motel room for that night. All the emergency shelters in the area were full at that time. So I contacted a nonprofit in the area for additional motel vouchers that they could provide her until a shelter became available. Once she was in the shelter, then we started working on getting her HUD-VASH. So I helped her through that application process and get her the documentation that she needed. And then once she was approved for that, we worked on finding her an apartment that would accept HUD-VASH. And now she is housed and she's doing great.
Perfect. Good. That's really good to hear. It's
Yeah.
how everything comes together. So now the hardest question I have for you. What's the best way for a veteran to get in contact with your office?
So they can call or text me at 262-225-7636. I'll give you that number again. It's 262-225-7636. Or they can email me, and that's Holly, HOLLY .Sieren, SIEREN @dva.wisconsin.gov.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us and doing this interview. We got a lot of good information. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for being with us, Holly, and thank you for all that you do for veterans. Next, we'd like to show you a short video tour of the R&R House. As I mentioned earlier, we are currently available for overnight guests. And if you would like to make arrangements to stay at the R&R House, please give us a call at 262-336-9540.
Right, and just so everyone knows, we'll be using 2 bedrooms at the house, one on the first floor and one on the second floor. And everyone will be required to wear a mask and follow safe social distancing practices while at the house.
The R&R House is the first peer-run respite for veterans in the United States. Located in Pewaukee, this 4-bedroom house is in a park-like setting on 1.5 acres and offers a peaceful space for veterans to connect with state-certified veteran peer support and other resources based on their needs. The beautiful open spaces inside and outside of the R&R House create a welcoming feeling of home. A non-threatening, non-clinical environment for veterans to reconnect and facilitate a transition to the next chapter of their lives. All veterans are welcome, regardless of when they served or their discharge status. Services at the house are free of charge. The grant requires the respite to be located in southeastern Wisconsin, but its services are available to all veterans who live anywhere in the state.
Yeah, and one other thing keep in mind about the R&R House is we are a strictly self referral, so please call us yourself.
That's right, Pete. And the R&R House is always free of charge. You can stay one night or up to 7 nights at the R&R House, no matter what your discharge status or veteran status is. To find out more, again, please call us at 262-336-9540. Next, we'll hear from Walworth County Veteran Service Officer Nathan Bond. Nathan served 24 years in the United States Army as both a corps engineer officer and a public affairs officer, retiring as a lieutenant colonel. Welcome, Nate.
Hello, my name is Nathan Bond. I'm the County Veteran Service Officer for Walworth County, Wisconsin. County Veteran Service Officers are here to help veterans and other veteran beneficiaries, spouses, children of veterans, get their federal and state benefits that you've earned through your service to our country. But we do more than that as well. We're advocates for you. We help you navigate the systems, both here locally at our counties, but at the state and with the federal systems. One of the things that most people don't realize is that their county has a lot of services available to them. Your county veteran service office can be your place to get integrated into the systems that are available for you here in the county. Whether you need a copy of your DD Form 214 registered with the County Register of Deeds, whether you need to get a copy of your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, the death certificate of a loved one, your county veteran service officer can help you with all those things. Do you need help with crisis intervention? Do you need help with adult protective services for one of your elderly family members? Do you need help with child protective services if you're the parent of a child that you're concerned for their safety? Your county veteran service officer is here to help you get in touch with the correct agencies within the county. Often we can help make sure that there are no charges to you for any services you receive, such as getting a copy of a vital record like a marriage certificate. The county veteran service officer can get that for you free of charge to you. Please, if you need anything within your county's systems, talk to your county veteran service officer first so you can find out maybe we can help you navigate that, and maybe we can help you do it without the fees that are usually associated with those services. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, next we'll hear from the Racine County Veteran Service Officer Zach Zierich and Stephanie Arlbin, the Director of Program Services of the Veteran Outreach of Wisconsin. Zach is a United States Marine Corps veteran and served from 2004 to 2008. Stephanie is a third-generation service member. She served 2 years in the United States Army as a combat medic at both Fort Bliss in Texas and at Landstuhl, Germany.
Well, first off, thank you for having us here today. What we're going to be covering is the resources going on here in Racine County. Obviously here at VOW, it assists a lot of the veterans that are homeless, get them housing immediately, as well as a marketplace, and that's a big point of it. As well as we have VORP, we have CVI, and the point I want to get across is that we're coordinating and we're collaborating with all these different resources and how important that is. So if a veteran comes off the street into my office, we sit down with them, hear them out, see what kind of resources they need. We may have that warm handoff to Stephanie and her team here at VOW. And then moving forward, we work with CVI, we work with the VA to continue that warm handoff. Rather than just fixing somebody, putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg, we're looking for long-term housing for them moving forward. Would you like to go over a little bit, Stephanie?
Sure. So here at Veterans Outreach of Wisconsin, I'm the Director of Program Services, and I help run our homeless recovery program. So we're a recovery program for veterans who are in various states of homelessness, and we have them come here with us, and we really work to get them permanently housed when they leave here. And so we have a system where when they come to us, they're in all stages and all walks of life, all kinds of veterans, all areas of veteran. And we really work with them to provide them classes like our financial sustainability classes, which allow them to increase their financial health so that when they leave, they can be permanently housed and they can be financially sustained. And I work very closely with Zach. Some of the vets that come to us don't even know that Zach's office exists or what's out there for them. Or some of them say, well, you know, I'm not a combat vet, or I'm not this type of veteran. There's nothing out there for me. And so Zach and I work very closely together to ensure that we can maximize those benefits for each of the veterans that we serve.
And here in Racine County, I mean, VOW is one of the biggest, resources that we do use for veterans that are homeless or at risk of being homeless. But like I said before, and I'm going to keep hammering this home, is collaborating with one another. It is so important. Because like Stephanie said, some people don't know that my office exists. And obviously when a veteran comes here and Stephanie refers them to us, that way we're there for them moving forward. And that warm handoff to warm handoff and following of them after we get them housed is the ultimate goal here. So thank you for having us. And we're always here if you need anything.
What are prerequisites in order for a veteran to get housing in the small houses?
Sure, we have a few requirements. One of those being, unfortunately, we cannot serve any veterans who have a dishonorable discharge. All other discharge types we do allow. Also, we do not allow anyone on the National Sex Offenders Registry or any violent crime within the last 10 years, to include things like manslaughter, stuff like that. Other crime is kind of case by case. A lot of them come to us with substance abuse or alcoholism or something in their past that may have led to a bar fight or something like that. So that's just me really sitting down with them and having that conversation. We do have an application process. So they have to fill out an application along with our policies and procedures. And then I sit down and I just do an interview with them to really make sure we're a good fit for them and they're a good fit for us. I don't ever want to put someone in the program who ultimately is going to fail because we just can't serve them to the best of our ability.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Zach. Were you going to say something?
To go off of that, one thing that Stephanie and her team is really good at is if somebody does not qualify for their program, Stephanie will call me like, hey, I have this veteran, give me their story, and we're able to find something else for them. So we're not just leaving a veteran hanging. I'm like, sorry, don't qualify. Good luck. We always find something else in lieu of another program that may be better for them, better fit.
And Zach, you are a part of the VOM, their board of directors, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
What are some of the things on that board you guys discuss or you guys come up with on that board?
Well, really the most important thing is supporting our staff and whatever they need. We kind of connect the dots in the community, bringing people that want to get involved to help them out. And it's really the support. We have 100% confidence in Steffi and her program, our new executive director, Brad Bailing, and Ramon, the director of development. They're doing amazing things. So really our biggest thing is continue show support for them. And if they do need any resources in the area, we're here for them.
Great. Ms. Stephanie, how long can a veteran stay in the community?
We like to say 2 years, but we will let them stay past that 2-year mark if they're progressing and they're really making great strides in their recovery. I'm not about to set someone up to fail and say, okay, you've been here 2 years, it's time to leave. We have one veteran who's currently almost on year 3, but he's very close to moving out, so he's excited and he's set up, and I have the utmost confidence in him that he's going to remain permanently housed and live a really good quality of life.
Great. And are you all assisting with trying to get those veterans set up in permanent housing at some point?
Yes. So I have a litany of resources available, anything from our Racine County Permanent Supportive Housing Program all the way up to apartment complexes that want to rent specifically to veterans. That's just something that's how they want to give back. And so I'll kind of see what housing option works best for the vet to make sure that I'm putting them in something they can afford, that they're comfortable with, it's close to work, close to transportation, if that's something that they need. And then just make sure that, we're setting them up to live the best life.
Great. I was on your website, and one of the things that really just jumped out at me when I went there is the market that you guys have in the veteran community. Talk to us a little bit about that market.
Sure. So we have a food pantry that's available to veterans and their families here in the Racine area. We serve close to 600 veterans and their family annually. They're allowed to get up to 40 pounds of food, and we get food donations from all over, to include Amazon. So we've got a little bit of everything. And what's great about our market as well is that's how I source a lot of the groceries for the village. So while the residents are here, we provide them with a fully stocked kitchen. So they do one of the requirements for them to be here is they have to make dinner for themselves and their fellow residents twice a month. And so to do that and to kind of help keep everybody food, give them, the best nutrition possible, I source a lot from our market, and then they prepare a meal with what we have.
And to go off that a little bit here, the marketplace is extremely valuable, obviously, in the veteran community because, it's not just for veterans or homeless or living here at the village, but I've sent so many families here that are just in down times right now. Obviously, during this last year, during COVID, a lot of people may be unemployed or, they need help with money, whatever it might be. They need food on the table. And I've been able to send them here and they're taken care of and they're so grateful for it. They don't feel like they're, ask for a handout. They feel part of the family here. And that's the most important thing here at the marketplace as well.
Absolutely. Has the pandemic affected you guys and how you've provided, shelter for veterans at the village?
No. What's kind of been a benefit and something that we've seen that we don't often see this time of year is I don't have a wait list right now. Normally this time of year, I do have a wait list, and I unfortunately will have to tell the vet, hey, you're going to have to just, kind of call every week or follow up with me to see if I have an opening. And with the pandemic and some of the restrictions and the rent moratoriums and things like that are going on, vets are able to stay in their house, but they'll still come to us needing other resources. And so that's how another way Zach and I work together is I'll say, hey, this veteran called me, doesn't need housing, but this is what he needs right now. How do we meet this need?
And Stephanie, I already know the answer to this question, but I just want everyone else to kind of know, how has it been a benefit to have the CVSO working hand in hand with you guys in this project?
I don't think we could do what we do without the CVSO office and their involvement. There's just so many resources they can connect with, so many county connections, and a lot of our vets, they'll still reach out to them when they leave here because they're just that wealth of resource for our vets. And we're fortunate here in Racine to have a very giving community. And so it's amazing. And without them, I don't know that our program would be as successful as it is.
And going to that same point, the way Stephanie communicates with me is obviously we communicate all the time on everything. And that's the most important thing because, a lot of VA programs, a lot of federal programs or state programs, a lot of veterans may not qualify for. And I think we all know that. So this way, linking up with my office, we use county resources, we use other state resources. That way we always have something for the veteran. Like I said before, that's the most important thing, not leaving them high and dry. We have something to at least work with them on.
Great. How would a veteran get in contact with you, Stephanie, in regards to trying to get information or find out how to stay in the village?
Sure. So we have a contact link on our website, which is veteransoutreachofwisconsin.org. And also on our social media. So we do have a Facebook page, Veterans Outreach of Wisconsin. They can send us a message directly on there or via my email, which is programs@vowvillages.com.
Thank you. And Zach, how about you? How can a veteran get in contact with you in the CVSO office?
Yeah, we always recommend the best way to get a hold of us is calling our office at 262-638-6702, or you can go on our Facebook, Racine County Veteran Services, or on our website as well as on our Racine County website under Veteran Services. So we have multiple ways for people to contact us.
Great. Well, thank you guys for giving us a little bit of your time, and we appreciate the information that you've given out. Great information that we got from those guys. So I appreciate them and the information that they provided. Next, we'll see a video from John Howe.
John is a U.S. Marine Corps veteran who served in Iraq during Operation Iraqi Freedom. Welcome, John.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you could be here. Yeah, we got some questions for you, and sorry for the technical difficulties we've been having. John, tell us a little bit about your role at the Vet Center and about some of the services that the Madison Vet Center has to offer.
Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit of history on myself first. So I served 4 years active with the Marines, and then 5 reserve side out of 224 Golf Company here in Madison. Deployed in 2007 to Iraq with Anti-Terrorism Battalion. But yeah, I mean, about the vet center. So first and foremost, I would say vet center is a safe place to talk. As a Marine veteran, I know firsthand, the stigmas that surround mental health can oftentimes stop a veteran from considering initiating care. Because personally, I experienced that myself, and providing that space is paramount to helping veterans address their mental health issues. The Vet Center offers free readjustment counseling services for veterans and service members struggling with transitioning into civilian life. And whether that's a week after returning from a combat deployment or 30 years later. So for us, that's a big step. So what started off as a peer-to-peer or, as I like to say, a vet-to-vet support program, originally for Vietnam-era vets in 1979, is now at 300 vet centers nationwide, and many of our staff are combat veterans themselves. So, with this, vet centers have evolved to offer a wide range of counseling services that is now extended to all war zone vets. This includes bereavement counseling and counseling for service members who experience sexual trauma at any time during their military service, regardless of their deployment. We also offer individual, group, family and marital counseling, along with a peer-to-peer approach, which involves social outings such as kayaking, fishing, ice fishing, hiking, biathlon target shooting practice, and also virtual gaming for veterans as well to help socialize them and kind of ease some of that isolation, especially with COVID.
Awesome. Cool. How are you connected with the VA, and what does that look like for veterans receiving services?
So we fall under the Veterans Health Administration, same as hospitals and clinics, but we are under mental health as RCS, which is Readjustment Counseling Services. Primarily, vet centers are located out in the community with a storefront type setting, allowing veterans greater access to our services and more of like a walk-on-in mentality. Obviously, due to COVID, we haven't been doing face-to-face. It's been through VA Video Connect and telehealth. And so while we are part of the VA, we're also separate from them in a sense, primarily meaning that they don't have access to our records unless a veteran specifically signs a release of information for that access. That is something that we take great pride in as well.
Cool. That's really good information. You already touched on this a little bit, but how else has the pandemic changed the way that you've interacted with veterans at the Madison Vet Center?
Well, in my role, first and foremost, I think a lot of people can relate to this, especially veterans. Majority of events and like our veteran resource drop-in events are virtual. And part of my focus has really been providing that peer-to-peer socialization for veterans. And that's where, doing the different outings comes into play. Most recently, the ice fishing outing, specifically. I mean, we had, a Vietnam era vet and also, GWOT era vets as well. So across the board, as well as, Badger Yellow Ribbon events for our National Guard and Army Reserve, those have gone virtual as well. So we've seen that kind of take off. One of the biggest things I would say is the VA Video Connect option. Being able to provide those counseling services remotely has opened the door for some that weren't able to come in person for services prior. And yeah, so it's really been a great tool for us to be able to utilize.
Awesome. It's good to know. How important are warm handoffs to your organization?
That's a great one, because with the stigmas that are associated with mental health treatment, a warm handoff is instrumental. It allows for the space for that veteran to have comfort in the process, knowing that they're in good hands, and also allows us the ability to meet the needs of that veteran from the start. And whether that is providing additional resources to meet those basic needs, or if it's getting the process started in counseling right off the bat. And another big proponent of this is working with outside resources as well. It is fundamental because when you provide mental health treatment, if the veteran's needs aren't being met outside of that, then they're not going to be focusing on their own mental health recovery and treatment process.
Oh, okay. Thanks. For those still serving, does receiving treatment hinder their career?
Yeah, another great question. To be honest, so we get that one frequently, especially with COVID, with the service members that are working testing sites and then mortuary affairs and such. But, being seen while still serving does not affect, their career. It doesn't red flag them. DOD doesn't have access to our records either. So that means that if anyone in that person's chain of command were to call us and ask if they're receiving services or if they have previously, nothing's going to be confirmed as far as that person ever being seen. Without them either informing them themselves or providing an ROI, so those documents can be released to a specific individual. There is a caveat to this, and that's if the individual does threaten self-harm or harm to others, then we will take appropriate steps to help that veteran.
Perfect. All right, last question I got for you, John. What's the best way for veterans to get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can call our office here in Madison direct. The number here is 608-264-5342, or they can call our 24/7 call center. And that's day or night. It doesn't matter if it's a vet that stubbed their toe or if they're having a more serious issue mental health wise. There's always going to be somebody there answering that phone. And that number is 1-877-927-8387.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us again tonight, John. You've given us a lot of good information. And once again, thank you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for putting this on.
Next, we'll hear from Rock County's County Veteran Service Officer, John Solis. John has served for over 20 years as the Rock County Veteran Service Officer, and it is their mission to advocate and provide assistance to all veterans of the United States Armed Forces, their dependents, and survivors. Welcome, John.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Today, I'll be speaking about couple of things. The first thing we're going to talk about is what is called a non-service connected pension for the veteran and death pension for the surviving spouse. Okay, so a non-service connected pension is a needs-based program. The program means that needs-based means you have to meet some criteria. Income is the big thing. Also, the non-service connected pension is for veterans that served during a war period only. So if the veterans served peacetime, unfortunately, they're not going to be eligible to apply for this benefit. The other criteria, you may have to have a certain amount of time in the service depending on when you served. So it's best to check with your local CVSO when you're doing the application. They will be able to explain it all to you. I'm just going to give you an overview of the program. So the non-service connected pension program has 3 levels. It's the basic pension, the homebound, and then the highest level is the aid and attendance. Generally in my area, we tend to concentrate or to see more activity on the high end, the aid and attendance, and that's because we have veterans that are calling about that when they enter either an assisted living or skilled nursing facility, and they need this additional income to help pay that cost. And so that's what generally when we hear them, not that we don't get the other veterans, the basic pension ones, but those are fewer because generally the income limit, if they're receiving any kind of income, including Social Security, they're over the income limit, a lot of cases for the program. So So today I'm going to concentrate on the aid and attendance portion of this program because that's where we get most of our activity. So in 2018, the VA changed this program to somewhat mirror Medicaid in that, you know, they do have a look back period for the program now, and it's 3 years instead of the 5 years for like Medicaid. But during that look back period, they are looking for divestment. If a veteran has given away their assets in order to become eligible for the non-service connected pension with aid and attendance, they're going to run into a problem there. So we try to advise veterans, please don't be doing this. You're going to make yourself not eligible, and then that's going to cause you problems. Because if you're not eligible for divestment for this program, you're probably not going to be eligible due to divestment for Medicaid either. So things to keep in mind. So currently, I do have the current limit or the max benefit that a single veteran can get from this benefit is $1,936 a month. That's the maximum benefit, and the amount of benefit that's that the veteran ultimately receives is determined by the VA based on all the facts and figures that we have to put on the application. And so each one of these is very individualized because not everybody has the same income, not everybody has the same asset level, not everybody has, you know, the same need, the cost at the facility. All those things are variances. So you know, once we get all those figures together, I can give them a pretty good idea of whether or not they'll get the benefit. And you know, if pushed, I mean, I will give them with the caveat that I'm telling them, don't take this as written in stone when I tell you you might get X amount of dollars, because that's the best figure I can give you based on the information that we have. And so I always tell them we should wait till the VA makes a decision on it, and that's the figure we're going to go with. So again, wartime service, and then there is a time period after September of 1980, you had to have had at least 24 months of service, and then and so the surviving spouse for the death pension, their eligibility is based on the veteran's eligibility. So if the veteran was eligible for the non-service connected pension, the surviving spouse will then be eligible to apply for the death pension. One thing to keep in mind is this benefit is for non-remarried surviving spouses. If the spouse remarries, they lose that eligibility. There are, you know, again, those are the ones that we see the most often. And the surviving spouse has a different maximum amount. Currently, that monthly amount is $1,244. And again, the amount that they actually received is determined by the VA based on the information that we provide on the application when it's submitted. So that, in a nutshell, is the debt or non-service connected pension and the death pension. So if there's no questions, I'll move along to, I think you wanted me to speak about VA healthcare. Okay, so VA healthcare, you have to fill out what's called a Form 1010 Easy. And there's information. Oh my God, my phone's ringing. Sorry about that. You have to fill out, you know, basic information. You have to provide a copy of your DD-214 with the application. One of the biggest things that could make you not eligible for VA healthcare enrollment is income. There is an income limit to the program, and it varies by where you live, because the cost of living varies. You know, certainly the cost of living in New York is way more expensive than the cost of living in Janesville, Wisconsin. So the VA does make allowances for that. So it's best to check with your local CVSO They can tell you what that local income limit is for your area, and then fill out the application. The other thing you want to make sure you have is that, if you have filed a claim with the VA and you're receiving, that's very important to put on that form that you have a service-connected compensation claim with the VA, and that you're rated whatever 10, 20, 30% disabled. You want to put that information on the form. If you're close on the income limit for the program, you can, if you have out-of-pocket medical expenses that are not reimbursed or not covered by a third party, you have to pay those, pay those out of pocket, like co-payments, health insurance premiums, that kind of stuff. Then you can total what you pay in a year, and list that cost on an annual basis. The VA will deduct that from your gross income, and then that adjusted income might put you under the income limit to make you eligible for the program. So one thing to keep in mind also is that if you're at the higher income limit, chances are you're going to have co-payments with the treatment that you receive at the VA, and those co-payments, like for medications, for instance, can the low end is like $8 per prescription per month, and then you might also have co-payments for like office visits when you go see the doctor, $15 for like your primary care doctor. I think it's $50 for a specialist. And so those kinds of things, I brief the veterans so that they're not blindsided with these costs and stuff, in case it should happen. But generally I can tell by, again, looking at their income that they're probably going to get these additional costs.
John, I will ask you a question, kind of even personal. I had applied for healthcare benefits when I decided to change fields, and I was denied. And they said my income was too much, and they had advised me to come back at the beginning of the year, which was 2020, and let them know that my income had changed. But the pandemic hit. So when the pandemic hit, a few months into the pandemic, I received a letter from the VA saying that I had been approved. They had reviewed it, and they had approved me for healthcare. So I thought that was kind of different, that that it would just change like that. But was a great benefit to me as well, though, because I needed it. So I would, like you said, I would advise everyone that does qualify to at least apply for it. You're in the system, and anything can change or anything can happen for the positive for you. And I just wanted to share that.
One thing I wanted to mention, if you're service connected for disabilities, you're going to get enrolled in VA healthcare regardless of your income. If you're service connected for disabilities, or if you're a Vietnam veteran that had boots on the ground in Vietnam, they will enroll you regardless of your income. So, I should say that there's one exception. If you're service connected and rated 0%, there's a little bit different there, but the VA will notify you. But generally, if you're service connected for disabilities, you don't, the income is not an issue. You still might have a co-payment for if they treat you for conditions that aren't service connected. Like for instance, if you're service connected because you got bad lower back, but the VA is treating you for a high cholesterol problem, well, you're probably going to have to pay the co-payments for, if your income's high enough, that you're going to still have the co-payments for that medication. So,
John, can you talk a little bit about, and another thing that I had ran across, in regards to getting a copy of your medical record? How, if someone was looking to get a copy of their medical record, how would they go about doing that? Because you can't do it online. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think you have to write in a request for it.
Are you talking about your service medical records or
Yes, service medical record, service
Yes.
medical record.
Yes, yes, you need to fill out a standard form 180. And then depending again on when you were discharged, will determine where you send that request to. Right now, it's still, based on the veteran population that we have, a lot of those requests still go to the National Personnel Records Center down in St. Louis. And so a standard form 180, basically you provide on that form your name, your social security number, date of birth, what branch you served, the dates of service. If you served earlier than, when the service started using your, social for your service number, then you probably have a different service number, and you list that, provide your address and your contact information, send that off to NPRC, and then they'll search the record. Now, I will say that at the moment, because of COVID that you mentioned earlier, there is a the time for processing those requests is really slowed down. So you need to be aware that if you're a veteran applying for your discharge, or you can request your discharge, copies of your medical records, your personnel file, all that should be at NPRC. Now, I say should because it is still up to the service branch to forward those records to NPRC. And so now, again, if you're a recently released veteran, recently discharged, like within the last 10 years and stuff, or even farther than that, I'm trying to think. I think it's even farther than 10 years. But anyway, it goes to a different location, and mainly the service branches themselves are keeping those records in their system, and that's where the request goes to.
John, I thank you for taking the time to speak with us this afternoon. How would a veteran get in contact with you from your county if they needed to get more information about anything that they've heard from you today?
Well, we have two offices in Rock County, depending on where you live. What I call the northern office, or for the northern part of the county, is the main office in the Janesville at the county courthouse. And at the moment, we're seeing people by appointment only, so you need to call and make the appointment. The phone number is 608-757-5552. If you live in the southern end of the county, the more convenient office for you to visit is our Beloit office, which is located at the Eclipse Center, which is the old Beloit Mall. And the phone number for that office is 608-363-6280.
Thank you very much for that information, and we'll make sure that we have that information posted in our comment section on our Facebook page. Thank you very much, John, and you have a great day.
Thank you. You guys as well.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, like I said, I'm a U.S. Marine Corps veteran. I served 7 years in the Marine Corps. Spent most of my time overseas. Spent about 2.5 years in Casablanca, Morocco, and another 2.5 in Cote d'Ivoire. Had some time in Camp Lejeune and Parris Island, South Carolina. Left the military, moved back to Milwaukee. I spent approximately about 16 years working for UW-Milwaukee. In various capacities. I used to work in child welfare and in out-of-home care places with youth. I then came back to I left UWM for a while, and I came back to direct the Veterans Upward Bound program prior to becoming CVSO of Milwaukee County.
So one important question that I would like to start off with tonight, Rick, is how soon or when should someone leaving the military, how soon should they be contacting you from being discharged from the military?
The sooner the better. They should, if they can contact us immediately. And so the reason being is that we can help them get connected to any type of benefits that they may be entitled to, or just give them an overview of the benefits that are out there and available to them. And like I said, the quicker the better. And so they don't get disconnected. And this keeps them connected with veterans and veteran services. So we like to engage them as quick as possible.
Does discharge status matter for a veteran when they're contacting you at all?
It doesn't matter when they're contacting us. However, it does matter in terms of what benefits they're able to receive. And so some of their discharge status can exclude them from certain benefits, but that doesn't stop them from getting in contact with us because we can work with them on various things. But of course, their discharge status does have an impact on the type of benefits that they're eligible for.
So can are you all able to help veterans with bad discharge statuses and help them get reclassified?
Yes, we do. We assist and try to help the process do discharge upgrades with veterans. We work extensively with them in terms of let them know what kind of research that they have to do, some of the legwork that they have to do, and then we help to put together the package, put together a nice narrative for them to request a discharge upgrade. Of course, none of this is guaranteed, but we give them the background and the criteria for the successful upgrades and how they usually work. But yeah, we're always willing to work with veterans who are interested in trying to upgrade their discharge if they come out with other than honorable discharges.
Sharing that information, thank you. How can a veteran get in contact with you to utilize to get help and utilize your services?
Well, they can contact me by phone, easily at 414-522-0936. And that's the easiest way, or they can contact me via email. It's rick.flowers@milwaukeecountywi.gov. And we actually see veterans by appointment. And so we do see veterans in the office by appointment, typically on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, and like I said, a veteran can contact us via email or by phone. And we're really responsive to our veterans' needs.
Thank you very much, Rick, for being with us this evening, and thank you for giving us that information. Last question that I have, and I'll let you go. Has COVID impacted how you all are seeing veterans and helping veterans at all?
Absolutely. For several months, we were unable to see veterans at all in the office. We had to install protective equipment in order to facilitate veterans entering the office again. We did some rearrangements and little modifications to the office to accommodate that. So yeah, it did have an impact on us and our ability to see veterans. We do not have any walk-in services at all. Again, all the services in the office are by appointment only. So that's a major impact because veterans are used to just coming up, walking into the office and getting service that way. And, you know, we feel kind of bad for not being able to provide that, but we'll do the best we can with what the situation calls for right now.
Well, thank you for sharing that information, and thank you for the help that you all have been providing veterans. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for tonight. So this is it for our event for the evening. Thank you for all the veteran resources that are with here with us tonight. We'll have all the contact information for all the resources that are on the show tonight on our Facebook page. And remember, the R&R house is now open for overnight guests. If you'd like to stay at the house, please give us a call at 262-336-9540. Thanks for being here with us. Good night.